Hi, it's Steph, and I'm back in my basement and getting ready to do my first batch of winter sowing for 2022. So what am I going to sow first? I typically break it up in batches. The first batch of seeds that I'm going to sow are things that are perennials, things that might benefit from a little bit of cold stratification, and my spring cool weather vegetables. So I'm going to get that going today. I've accumulated about a dozen containers, so I'm going to work on getting those filled. So yeah, let's get going. Thing I'm going to do is my poppies, and the poppies are super small, and I don't want them to be planted too densely because poppies are terrible to transplant. They're not great about being transplanted. They're a little finicky. So if I try to sow them thinly initially, I'm hoping that it'll cause me less of an issue when I go to like separate them out to try to plant them in the landscape. So let me do that on camera now to kind of show you what I think I'm going to do to plant these poppies. So I have a container that I have prepped here. I'm going to fill it with dirt. So these poppies that I'm sowing now are called the Poppy Hungarian Blue. I've already did some outside. I sprinkle them on the snow, which is another method to plant your poppies. They benefit from cold stratification. So I sprinkled some on top of the snow, and now when it melts, they will be sitting on the soil, and that should help them germinate. Doing the rest in a winter sowing container. Because the poppy seeds are super tiny, I put them on this white sheet of paper so that I can see them, and I kind of created a crease so that it's easier to work with them. And here's a method for sowing very tiny seeds. You get a bowl with water and a toothpick, and you put a little bead of water at the tip of the toothpick, and it helps you pick up a really tiny seed really easily. So I don't think that can be seen on camera, but there's a tiny poppy seed right at the edge of my toothpick. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to drop it in my container. And so my plan is just to do this with a bunch of these seeds and space them out as best as I can, because I can't really see them on the dirt. So I'm really just going to place them here and there and everywhere and hope that this method works out better than me just spilling them in the container. So I just finished sowing my Hungarian blue poppy, and this time, where I typically would put a very thin layer of soil on top, you always have to read the back of the package and know what depth you're sowing your seeds to, so that you don't put too much dirt or not enough. In the case of poppies need light to germinate, so I'm not going to put a sprinkling of soil, potting soil on top of this. All I'm going to do is just press them down with my fingertips, use my squirt bottle to kind of gently spritz it with a little extra moisture, because I don't want to move these seeds out of place. They're so small. And that's it. My label is in here, and I'm going to seal it up. I had to refill my bucket with some more potting mix, and I had to moisten it. Just put in your water a little at a time so that you don't make mud. Remember when you were a kid and you made mud pies? Your grandmother's like leftover like butter container she was about to throw out. You throw some dirt, some sticks, some leaves in there, and some water from the hose. It's kind of like making mud pie. All right, back to the containers. If you're new at winter sowing, I probably wouldn't recommend doing this. I like to live on the edge. Just kidding. I really don't. I'm as cautious as they come. But in any case, I'm going to throw caution to the wind right now so that I can use this container for three things. I'm going to plant or sow 3 different types of spring crops in here, because I don't want to waste 3 containers. So I'm just going to put like maybe 3 seeds in each one of these little sections and hope for the best. So all I did was I used these little plant markers, and I just kind of made like a T situation so that I have 3 sections. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to plant Brussels sprout seeds in here. To date, I have tried 3 times and I've never been successful growing Brussels sprouts. But I guess maybe I'll hope my luck will change. Who knows? So I'm going to take these and I'm going to put a couple Brussels sprouts in here. Cabbage. These always get eaten by cabbage worm. I also never have luck with them. and maybe like some collard greens. So I'm gonna do collard greens, Brussels sprouts, and cabbage in this container, in one seed in each of, well, actually one variety in each one of these 3 compartments. Maybe 3 or 4 seeds in each section. Just finished up my winter sowing for my first round of containers, and I'm going to show you what I winter sowed. So the first thing that I did was my spring veggies. So here I have broccoli, a purple variety, broccoli calabrese, collard greens, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, broccoli rabe, an old packet of kale. So what I did was I just mixed both of these in the package. I did this kale scarlet purple and this blue dwarf variety. And onions yellow de Parma. This will be my first time. Well, I have tried onions before, but not successfully. I've also tried leeks, and those didn't work out. But I researched onions because there's a little trick to growing them. You have to know if you have long day or short day varieties. Since we have long days in the summer, I selected this onion yellow of Parma. I follow the Shay Elliott on the Elliott Homestead, and I know that she grows a lot of onions in their market garden, and this was supposed to be a really good storage variety. So if I'm actually successful in growing onions, I wanted a variety that I can keep for a long time, or to store them. So this is the kind I'm trying this year. So those were the veggies that I started for my spring garden. The next grouping of things that I started were perennials. And so I started some coneflowers. So the varieties that I started were cotton candy, sunseeker salmon, and double scoop mandarin, as well as green twister, echinacea or coneflower. Some blue globe thistle. I started these last year. I have 2 plants out in the yard. They might be a perennial that only bloom in the second year, but just in case those don't make it, I wanted to grow the rest of these. I think there was only like 3 seeds in here, so we'll see how it goes. In my last winter sowing video, I had sown these Magic Fountain Dwarf Delphinium, which is also a perennial. And then as I was going through my seeds, I found this packet of blue bellflower. These are really old, actually. They're from 2018, so they're 4 years old. I don't know if they're going to germinate or not. In any case, I did go ahead and use the rest of this packet. And the last group of seeds that I winter sowed for today were the hardy annuals. So I sowed some poppies, the Hungarian blue, the lilac pom-pom, the amazing gray. So those were the poppies. I also sowed some nigella, and this is the Delft blue, some bells of Ireland, and some snapdragons. And this actually should go in the perennial category also. I sowed some blue fescue ornamental grass. This germinates extremely well. I had a lot of success with this last year, but I wanted some more plants, so I'm giving this one another go. So that was it for the winter sowing for round 1 for winter sowing 2022. So all I have left to do now is put them out in the garden and let them do their thing. Well, there is the winter sowing for round 1 all set, and I couldn't get in my garden because my gate is frozen with all the snow we've gotten recently. So I want them to go there because it's getting nice sun at the moment. But for now, they have to sit here and wait until I can get back in. But hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you have any questions. Till next time, take care.